Okay, so here I am just checking those angles on the headband. And at this stage, we're just kind of massing out. We're getting still a little bit of the gesture here in the hair. And she does have this ribbon that's kind of like tangled and woven through her hair. I'm going to draw it. You don't have to if you really don't want to. I think the ribbon's kind of fun. So if you want to a little bit more of a challenge, it would be cool if you got the ribbon in too. But it's not required. And you have to look at the ribbon, the shape it makes. The shape it makes is it meets the other half of the ribbon too, where the line curves, where things kind of fold over, and where they overlap. So I'm checking the angle there on the lower half of the ribbon. And part of that ribbon's covered with hair, in her hair, like a tangle of hair there. And her shoulder, she's like kind of sideways, so her shoulders are seen sideways. They're not seen like from a full 3/4. They're like almost like they're in profile. It's just her head that's turned towards us. So her shoulders are really narrow. So I actually dropped a plumb line down. I compared it to where the end of the hair was. Um, it's almost in line with her headband. It's a little bit beyond the headband, maybe. So here I'm going to focus more on the drawing rather than having the photo right next to it. You have the photo, so you have that ability to look back and forth between photo to drawing it. Okay, so this is where it becomes about toning. I've toned in the irises. She still does not have any pupils at this stage. So this is where it's a little bit different from our other drawings. We're going to be working up the whole values at the same time. We're going to get pretty much like 3 values covering the face. So I'm going to be looking at the photograph to get the value pattern on the photograph, and then I'm going to try and lightly shade that here. A map of value. So I'm looking at her face and I'm looking at the shadow that's crossing her face, and it's kind of irregular. It almost looks like there's a mask on there. But I lightly outlined it, so light you probably can't hardly see it. But I'm going to tone in those areas where her face is in slight shadow. So at this point, I'm just working only on the face. I'll later go into the hair, but I'm just toning that shadow shape that's on her face. And she is, of course, like the left side of her face. Well, it's really her right side, but the left side of the image is in shadow. The right side is in light. So I'm working off of that same value pattern. And I'm shading, trying to apply neat shading, going kind of at a diagonal line there and filling in the gaps. But I'm keeping the shading at this stage all one tone. And I'm just shading right over the top of the mouth and the teeth and the lips. Because that's in shadow, it would remain in shadow even though the teeth we know they're going to be white, but white teeth in shadow will not be perfectly white. They're going to be gray. There's a funny patch on her chin, like a triangular patch of sunlight on there. Making sure you get that in there too. It's almost like she has like a face mask on. got this eye patch thing going too. So there I'm mapping out the shadow shape on the forehead, just a little bit of an area in there. Also the area in between her bangs where there's skin exposed. Now I'm going down just below the neck, or below the chin onto the neck. And I'm trying to tone that a degree darker than the face. So I'm using the same pencil, I'm just pressing a little bit harder. And now going to the hair, and I'm switching pencils here. I'm using, I think, a 4B. So I want that hair to be toned darker than the skin tone. Her hair is nearly black, so we're going to go pretty dark with it eventually, but we're going lighter than it ultimately is going to be. But still, I want it darker than the skin tone. And it is going to be darker on the left-hand side. On the right side of our drawing, it's going to be lighter because that's where the light's hitting. So I'm trying to get kind of a gradient there, going kind of from dark to medium to a little bit lighter as it goes towards the top of the head. It's a little bit patchy at this point, but that's okay because we're going to work it up later. Okay, so I am kind of trying to stick to the direction that the hair is actually going in. Getting that like chunk of bang that's kind of falling across her face. So here's the hair on the left-hand side of her face. Kind of like these nice strands. And it is important to try and get those shapes correct too. And again, I'm going with the direction of the hair. You can see my head keep turning to the picture, to the drawing, to the picture, to the drawing. That's pretty normal when you're drawing from a reference, or when you're drawing from life too. So just getting the toning on the rest of the hair, again, keeping to the direction that the hair is actually going. So once you have a basic value kind of map on her, so you have some lights, some mid-tones, some darker colors. I have 3 values on mine. Then it's appropriate to start going in and putting in the details. So I'd probably start off with the eyes first, since those are the most important feature on her face. It's the place that gets the most attention. So I do the eyes, I put the pupil in, fully get them shaded, and then I move throughout the features until I have the whole thing pretty well detailed out.